I'm Edwin Warfield, the publisher of City Biz. I'm honored today to introduce Tammy Thomas from TechCo, who will be interviewing Dr. Liz Clayborne, the CEO of NasaClip.
We're here with Dr. Liz Clayborne, CEO of NasaClip, an early stage company based in Maryland that has designed an innovative product to help stop nosebleeds. Welcome to the show, Dr. Clayborne. Can you please tell us a little about yourself, about NasaClip, and what your vision was behind it?
Well, thanks for having me, Tammy. I'm really pleased to be here. As an emergency physician, I was really struck by the number of people who would show up to the ER looking for treatment for nosebleeds. Parents, older adults, and anyone would actually come in and wait 4 or 5 hours to see me over a problem that I thought was relatively simple if they had the correct tools to treat at home. But I soon discovered that not only in the ER did we not have a great solution for this problem, but even at home, people didn't know the correct steps to treat a nosebleed effectively, and that would cause them to have to seek out medical attention. And that's why I came up with NasaClip. It provides simple and effective nosebleed rescue. Essentially, my device is a nasal compression clip that provides hands-free external compression of the nose and medicated sponges that go inside the nose to help deliver medications such as oxymetazoline or Afrin that can help stop nosebleeds fast. Our device is also sized for both children and adults, since nosebleeds are most common in kids like ages 2 to 10, as well as older adults 60 to 80 who are often on blood thinners. So I started out with just thinking about this idea. It was not something I really considered myself to be pursuing. Didn't have necessarily a background in business. I was just a physician that was anxious to get out into practice. But I was really fortunate that I had great guidance very early on through the GW Innovation Center, and was able to work on patenting my device and launching my company. And since that time, we have been able to secure our IP, build a prototype, and then actually participated in the TechCo Builder Fund, which helped to accelerate our growth to the process that we are now, where we're ready to test our MVP and launch into the market with our Class 1 device this year. So I'm super pleased because a lot of the skills that I use as a physician have been very instrumental, I think, in me being a successful business owner. I have great communication skills, but I also just really understand the everyday problems of a mom and dad, or someone who just has a medical problem that they want a solution to. And I'm happy that I'm bringing a solution to the market that can help people solve nosebleeds in any setting by anyone.
Well, thank you so much, Liz. It sounds like you've already given us some key milestones, but can you talk to us a little bit more about some of the other key milestones NasaClip has experienced since you started?
Sure. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I really focused on protecting my intellectual property. So my device has 2 issued U.S. utility patents, 1 issued design patent, and then we keep a patent under continuation to help, keep up with our design iterations as we move forward in the process. Since that time, then I've started kind of building my team, my advisory board, as well as the people who are working on my minimum viable product, my MVP. The device comes in both a medicated and non-medicated form, and the non-medicated form is actually going to be ready to launch into market this year. We were successful in raising a pre-seed round of over $500,000. We actually were oversubscribed for the round. And I was so excited to announce that, even as a Black female founder, I was successful in raising capital for this very early stage medical device. I think because people really see the potential impact it has in being the Band-Aid of nosebleeds and addressing a very large market where 1 in 3 households has someone with a common recurrent nosebleed. So a lot of people are resonating with, the market that this device is going to be serving, as well as the potential for me and my company to be extremely successful. So outside of the fundraising and the IP, we also have the MVP. So I can actually show you a little bit of what the device looks like, because people always ask me. And what I tell people is if you have a nosebleed, really what you want to do is apply constant uninterrupted pressure to your nose. But that's hard to do because your hand gets tired and it usually slips off. So our device has these sponges that simply go in the nose like this, and then you rotate it into place and you pinch it shut. And then you can see it holds constant uninterrupted pressure to your nose. You can put a mask over it. You leave it in place for about 10 to 20 minutes and then simply release the clip, pull it out, and then you can check for bleeding. It can be reinserted 2 or 3 times, but is intended for only one-time nosebleed use. So I'm so excited to get to the point of where I am now, where I had initially just an idea, right, a dream, and now I have an actual product that's ready to go to market, that's patented, and capital behind me that is going to be propelling me to the next stages.
Truly, I mean, I wish that your product was available like 10 years ago. My daughter always had issues growing up with nosebleeds. So, and it looks like it's so easy to use too.
Simple on and off. And, the main thing is that, no one holds constant pressure. They always let go a little bit, and kids
Right.
don't tolerate stuff. They don't want things near their mouth or their eyes. So this is like, as I mentioned, the Band-Aid of nosebleeds. It simply just pops on there, leave it in place. It applies the pressure. It can be medicated. Then you take it off and move on with your day.
Truly. Okay. So Dr. Clayborne, can you talk to us a little bit about given where we are today in the world due to the impact of COVID-19, what changes did you need to make for your company to pivot, if any?
Absolutely. That's a great question, Tammy. I know a lot of companies and founders as well as entrepreneurs really struggled over the last couple of years with COVID-19. And for me in particular, it was a very challenging time. I have continued to practice as an emergency physician, which I think is an important part of me truly understanding the landscape of medicine and how to use my product. But it also means that I was on the front lines of COVID when, the pandemic started. Not only that, I was actually pregnant when the pandemic started. And so when I was really trying to move forward my company, I was juggling being a mom with a young child, being pregnant, and then practicing on the front lines, and all the kind of financial struggles that companies go through when they're trying to grow and things are moving slowly. So a lot of what we had to do is focus on what can we accomplish in this time frame, and where are there resources that are available for companies that were maybe not available. I also found that there's some silver linings in the COVID-19 pandemic. It really illustrated the importance of being able to solve these simple medical problems at home and not have to go into a medical environment where you might be exposing yourself to COVID or other infectious diseases. So people really resonated with that idea that this gives you the power and empowers anybody in any setting to stop nosebleeds fast. So I think it actually helped us as far as delivering that message with fundraising. And a lot of what I had to do during the pandemic was kind of just be patient and continue to be diligent. So, I had to have my daughter, I had to take time off for that. I actually used my maternity leave to work a lot on NasaClip and moving it forward. And then I also had to just make sure I was being very careful when I was going back to work and being mindful as someone who juggles a lot of hats, as a lot of female and minority founders do, to, make sure I'm taking care of my mental well-being, right? How am I doing with, the workload that I have, the constant pressures that I have to make the company successful and take care of my children and, be married and also be a practicing physician and someone who's actually very visible in the public eye as a public health informant. So it was a trying time, but I think something that has absolutely contributed to me actually flourishing and being able to accelerate the growth during a time that I think, has been challenging for a number of people. And I feel extremely fortunate for that.
Well, thank you so much. You are a hero, right? So many of our folks on the front line battling COVID-19 while they're also taking care of their own families has just been, a tremendous blessing to us all. Dr. Clayborne, can you share with our audience how TechCo has helped your business? And for some of those who might not know TechCo, we are an entity that helps to identify, invest in, and grow technology and life science startup companies in Maryland. Just want you to share some of the resources that TechCo might have helped to provide you and your company to grow, to give an example for other entrepreneurs that might be struggling or looking for that extra help to make them be successful.
Absolutely. And I'm so happy that I'm getting to speak about this because TechCo was really instrumental at a critical time that I needed assistance and a kind of a bridge to accelerate the growth of my company. So I got reached a point where I had a clear path of what I knew I wanted to do with my company, but I didn't really have that expertise, the mentorship, or the advisors, as well as the capital to execute those goals. And so I was encouraged through a colleague to apply to the TechCo Builder Fund. And this was a program that specifically targets both women and minorities in the state of Maryland. And I happen to be, I think, a perfect fit for that. And I was just so thrilled to be able to join the TechCo community, because not only did they provide capital through their pre-seed fund, as well as executive management support, but I also got a community of other founders who were all at the same stage as me and encouraging me along my journey. And I've continued to engage with the TechCo family in many ways. We have a women's roundtable, which is great to speak to other women founders and entrepreneurs. I'm still very close with my cohort members. We're all continuing to be successful. And it was really that infusion of capital that allowed me to get to the MVP and then start fundraising for my pre-seed round, which I've now completed, that would not have been made possible without TechCo. So I'm a proud member of the TechCo family, and really, have to attribute them to believing in me and NasaClip in its very early stages, because I think they saw, what the potential could be. And I'm very excited to show them where we're going to go from here.
Truly. And then for our last parting question, Dr. Clayborne, can you share with us what's your vision for the future of NasaClip?
Sure. So, I believe wholeheartedly that this is a product that provides a very simple solution to a very common problem. 60% of people experience nosebleeds. They're something that most of us are very familiar with. And I think I provide a solution that, again, empowers anyone in any setting. So not just doctors and nurses like me in the medical setting, but parents, trainers, coaches, people who work in nursing homes, sports medicine, all of these things where this might be a problem. This gives them a tool to stop nosebleeds with the expertise and the preciseness that I know as a physician is needed to deal with this problem. And it helps them to avoid, potentially painful, invasive things that can happen if we don't treat nosebleed correctly on the first bout. But in addition to me bringing to market what I consider future blockbuster product that will be a global brand name and in every medicine cabinet across the world, I also want my story to serve as an example of Black excellence. Just as it's important for me as a physician to represent someone who's a woman of color that is, educated, knowledgeable, and helping to serve her community through medical practice and education, I also think it is important to show that you can be successful in business and that I can be, dominating in this space that has been largely dominated by people who don't look like me. And so I'm hoping that in addition to my personal success with NasaClip, that I open up the door for other people to think about their potential, their ideas, and how to make their business a success.
Thank you, Dr. Clayborne. We at TechCo in Maryland proper, we look to see NasaClip being one of our unicorns.
I hope so. I'm ready to make you guys proud.
You already do. We're just ready for this ride. We know that we're going to the moon and back with you. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Clayborne, for joining us today to share your NasaClip testimony. I think our viewers clearly see that Maryland is the place to start and grow their companies, especially with TechCo in town.
Thank you, Tammy and Liz, for an insightful and interesting interview. We look forward to hearing more about your company as it proceeds going forward. Thank you.